Hello, 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 and happy Monday. This is a fantastic Monday, June 5th, 2023. You are now in tune to the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast. It airs every Monday at 7 p.m. right here on IG Live. I am your host, Jasmar Jazz Bennett, mother, educator, host, and I have a dynamic show for you tonight. So if you are tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. Wave, let me know how your Monday has been going. Let me know where you are listening in from, where my Polk County people at, because you guys know that I rep Polk County to the fullest. You're not new to this, right? You're true to this, right? And so because of that, you already know that Mondays are bae for me. Monday is my calibration day. Monday is my day that I set my goals, my intentional goals, and we knock it out the park, right? Monday has been tough today, though. I received so many issues today, but you know what I did? I had to sit back, take a step back, take a breather, and I had to hone into every single thing that I tell you guys to do every single Monday. And when I did that, I woosawed, took a deep breath, and I'm like, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to show me? What do I need to do? Do I need to chill out? What do I need to do? And so all is well, because guess what? I'm hopeful, and I'm geared up, and I'm ready to go. I am blessed beyond measure. I am going to accomplish all of my goals. I'm going to crush them. I am going to do exceedingly and abundantly well. I'm going to supersede every thought, every wish that I have. That's how positive I am on my Monday. So listen, I'm so excited about episode 83. That's a blessing in itself. Episode 83, y'all. I am embarking almost on my 2-year podcast anniversary. You know, I started this podcast on November 1st. So that's right around the corner. We are approaching that. And I am going to have an anniversary celebration just like I did for my 1-year podcast anniversary. So I see that you guys are checking in. I see that my guest is on. I'm going to wave for her. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hey, beautiful. How are you? Hey. Listen, hola, ¿cómo estás? I see some of y'all are speaking Spanish all up in the chat. I love it. Listen, here's what I need for you to do. I need for you to make sure that you share this with at least 5 of your friends. I want to get a conversation going on in the comment section. And if your friends can't make this live, make sure that they come back and they like the live. Make sure that they tune in on YouTube and on all podcast platforms, because this podcast airs under the same name, Jazzie Conversations with Jazz. I need for you to subscribe on all podcast platforms, your favorite one, and also on YouTube. So I'm going to get into my guest for today. She's a fellow Rattler, and y'all looking at the colors, because I had to do the orange, and I had to do the green, and I had to get my little Rattler earrings going on and all of that good stuff. So I am so excited. I am so excited for today. All right, because my special guest for episode 83 is none other than Rubye Dunn. Rubye Dunn is a native of Tampa, Florida, who graduated from Florida A&M University. She currently serves as an assistant principal at Gaither High School. Her roles in her 25-year career have included creating and implementing numerous series of professional development presentations to enhance teacher engagement and delivery, as well as developing programs to support and retain new teachers at the school. And boy, do I know how hard that can be, but she's been doing it for over 25 years. She has also held leadership roles in organizations such as Hillsborough Association of Black School Educators, HABSE, and HABSE, and the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. Rubye is also the founder of Imagine Me LLC, a business with entities that include a tutorial service, life coaching, etc. She recently had an article published in Essence magazine about healing and pivoting toward her purpose. So without further ado, I am going to bring on my special guest, my fellow in the house. We're going to reminisce about our days at FAM starting off. So I want to go ahead and welcome. Hey girl, how you doing?
Hey, how are you? I'm good. I'm here.
I'm fantastic. I'm excited.
Yes.
I just, this interview I feel like has been a long time coming. We've been Facebook friends for a minute, and we've encouraged one another through posts and inboxes, and finally met in person at one of the at FAMU's homecoming. And actually, homecoming that
Yes. I had my glasses on and it was late. Now don't do that.
I'm not. I'm not. And so, like, what's so special about that that particular homecoming was that was my homecoming. Like, in real life, like, I felt like I needed to go back to my roots because that was the moment of my life that I was actually pivoting. I was pivoting out of a career. I was pivoting out of a position, going to a new. I was scared. I was like, what the heck is going on with my life? And I was like, if anybody gets it, it's going to be FAMU, like the family at FAMU where it all started. Like, you can't tell me that this is not what I'm supposed to do. And so that gave me all of the energy, all of the insight that I needed to start this podcast. And it was gravy ever since. So like that was important. So it was the same thing for you.
Yes, Homecoming 2021 was absolutely epic, right? And it absolutely filled my cup. Like, it thrust me forward. It reminded me like who I was at 17, 18, 19. So I totally feel you on that. Yep.
Yes. It was incredible. So listen, I'm going to start this interview off with a segment that I like to call 21 Questions with Jazz. And so we're going to talk about FAMU, but we're also going to talk about you. We're going to get to know you. So you ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So why did you choose FAMU? Out of all of the colleges that you could have attended, why FAMU?
All right. I attended a school in Tampa. It's called Bloomingdale High School. And if you've heard of Bloomingdale store, like the department store, it really was kind of like the high school version of that. It was very upscale. The students drove BMWs. It was just kind of an upper scale high school, and it had about 1,700 kids, and I think it was only like 90 Black students. So it was deeply entrenched in like a very white neighborhood. So I was ready for an HBCU by the time I graduated. I had a great experience there. I was on the cover of the yearbook senior year, so I really grew to understand my role and who I was at that school in that environment, but I knew that I needed to go to an HBCU, and FAMU was my only choice. I applied to Tuskegee just because, to be honest with you, a lot of my friends there who were white were like, oh my God, Rubye, you're not going to apply to Florida State, Florida, and I got into those schools, but I chose FAMU. Definitely.
And that's what I say. I say that all the time. Like, when I tell my story about how I went to FAMU, and my sister legitly thought I was going to go to UF, because when it came down to it, it was between UF and FAMU. When I tell you, my sister had bought me a University of Florida credit card and everything, because I got accepted and I was about to go to summer session. Then I got this letter from FAMU, from the journalism department, and I was like,
same thing. I was jumping up and down. I was so excited. Did not look back.
I know that's right. So listen, what dorm did you stay on campus your first year?
McGuinn, third floor.
I knew you was going to say McGuinn. I knew you
were
was going to say McGuinn. No, so listen, I was in. No, I was not a 30-foot soldier. No, so I was in. Good Lord, I'm about to go to my. I was about to tell you University Commons, because that was the apartment complex that I lived in my sophomore year. But Palmetto South Phase 1 is Palmetto South Phase 2. Actually, is where I was at. So we looked up. Me and my one of my best friends. I don't know if you remember, like, when you had to fill out for housing or whatever, but it was a survey where you could have said, like, your 1, 2, 3, what's most important. So one of us picked that our housing was important, and one of us picked that our roommate was important in some kind of way. we ended up getting the ideal apartment dorm, and we also ended up being roommates with 5 other girls. So we kind of looked up on that. So
I lived in Palmetto South.
You did? Okay. So what do you remember about McGuinn? Because I had several friends. Like I was adopted into McGuinn. So what do you remember about McGuinn?
Oh my God, I remember the bathroom being on one end of the hallway and my room being on the other end. But I just remember the doors being open, loud music, just lots of laughs, lots of love. The TV being downstairs in the this is the early 90s, being downstairs in the lobby. I remember the boys couldn't go past the TV in the lobby. Just a lot of fun and love. I remember a lot of love in the dorm at FAM. It was just like being around a bunch of cousins. It was great.
Right. Now, did you know your roommate before you got there? Did you just have one or two?
I had one. I was on the 3rd floor, and we had one of those smaller rooms. No, I didn't. She was from Lauderdale, and she was special. But I love her. But yeah, I didn't pick any roommates on campus. Not at all. Okay. Everybody was new to me.
Did y'all go through any like panty raids or anything? Because all dorms are.
Of course, I started to say that earlier. Of course, I was like, who coming in here? What they trying to get? Like, what you want to see? And then so I didn't know what to think. But yeah, we did. We had a few.
Yeah,
that
was infamous. And things like that. Like we didn't really get all of that in Palmetto South or whatever. So we used to have to go like to the dorms to really experience that. So I was just like. Yeah. They used to tell me, I'm like, oh my God, really?
Yes. I love it. So, excitement. The panty raids were very basic. It wasn't like some intrusion. It wasn't a real negative experience. Right. But I love the whole experience. I wouldn't trade any of it.
Me neither. And so when I was formulating these questions, I was like, all of these firsts. So I'm going to ask you some firsts on FAMU's campus. Okay. So do you remember going to your first home game? And if you do, what do you remember about it?
I had gone to so many games. Like my older sister went to FAMU, and my father took us to Tallahassee to FAMU games. So I don't remember
when you were a student, your freshman year.
Okay, when I was a student, my first home game specifically, I remember my first homecoming game as a student. I remember that, and I just remember, had to have my outfit together. Remember, you had to get that part together first. And then I remember, you kind of was looking to see who was where so you can sit next to your friends or whoever you had a crush on or whatever. I just remember wanting to be seen. I do remember that part and having the outfit together. Yes, definitely.
Right. I know that's right. Do you remember the first song as a student? Or, it doesn't even have to be as a FAMU student, but do you remember the first song that the band played that just automatically became your favorite? And it's like you couldn't wait until they played that one song.
No, I can't. I'm one of those people, the entire halftime show, I'm up. They could be playing the ABCs or whatever. I am going to enjoy it. So I can't remember my first song that I really enjoyed, like my favorite song. I can't think of the name of one of those songs, but I get goosebumps when I hear it. They play it every game. I can't think of the name of it.
Because I don't know, and I'm asking you this because I'm a hum it. I'm a hum mine. And I was like, what is the name of this song? So I'll go first. So it's like da 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 da.
Yeah. Da, da, that's what is the name of it?
I don't know.
But I get goosebumps when I hear that song. Yes, I do. I get goosebumps.
Yes. So I'm like, so that's one for me. But then when I was at FAM, I just remember Crucial Conflict was really, really heavy in rotation on the radio. So when they used to play Hey, like Hey.
Oh, yeah. That was like my senior year. That was like my senior year. We were heavy Luke Skywalker, Trick Daddy, JT Money. We were that generation. Yeah.
I know that's right.
Trick Daddy, yes. Sorry.
So I loved it, and it's just like and then you were in Tampa because you remember when they used to have the Classic was in Tampa. It wasn't in Orlando. Like
born and raised in Tampa. Yeah, I never went to the Classic in Orlando. Still haven't. But I was born and raised on that. No, I've never been to the Classic in Orlando. People don't believe me when I say that, but I have not been to the Classic in Orlando. I think I've gone over there to maybe party after, but like to go to the game, I just have not.
You just
it's been over there for. I don't know if I'm like low key like rebelling against the fact that it left Tampa, but I've never gone to the game in Orlando. Hold on. But yeah, the classic, and I went to the JSU classic, but not the Thanksgiving, like BCC classic, no.
So you have, if we decide to tailgate, because the one thing I've never done is tailgate at the game or even like partook in tailgating at the game, which is so weird. But this year, if I do decide to tailgate and we set up a little tent, you have an open invitation. Now, I'm gonna go to the game.
Yes,
I'm gonna go to the game.
I will
But you have
definitely
an open invitation.
accept the invite. Yes, I will accept the invite to that. Yes.
Okay.
Cool.
Did you ever? So, what major did you start off with at FAMU, and did you ever change your major?
Yes, I started off as a journalism major. I wrote about it in the article. I started off as a journalism major, and then I got cold feet, and I went into English because I thought that would be a way for me to navigate into journalism. I just talked myself into this idea just in case it didn't work. I was going to go to law school or somehow be a writer, and I ended up being an English teacher. Mm-hmm.
What was it that attracted you to journalism?
I just like engaging in people's stories. As far as I can remember, even when I was little and watched The Wiz, I really wanted to know, like, why was the Tin Man the Tin Man? Like, why was the Scarecrow the Scarecrow? And why did Dorothy, like, why would you go outside in that storm? Like, I wanted to ask questions. I'm inquisitive and I love to learn. And even now, I don't really watch a lot on television. I still watch a lot of documentaries all the time. Like, I don't miss 60 Minutes on Sunday. It comes on at 7 o'clock. I'm still that person. Okay. Still that person. Just a journalist at heart. I love to tell stories. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What were you afraid of? Because I was afraid too. So
okay, I think for me, I just was, it was like I think I wrote in, well, I know I wrote in the article, it was a critical voice in my head that just made me believe I could not do it. And I just, you know, sometimes you have to have a certain level of worth. And I just did, it was just not where it was supposed to be. So I felt like it was something that was deeply, something I really wanted, but I just felt like for some reason I could not grasp it. I would not have it. So I kind of went with my plan B. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a plan B too. Like, it was, you know, for me, in my family, journalism was that, it was like a risky major.
Yes.
But they were used to me being on like TV news productions in middle school, high school. They knew I loved the microphone. Like, I would host everything. I would recite. Like, I loved having a mic. Like any Maya Angelou, like, poem. Right. I love that. And then I just, you know, my safety net for me, like what I almost did, because they always said, my sister was just like, like minor in business. So you'll have like,
yes,
and, like,
always that safety net.
Yeah, like that little safety net to fall back on. And so I was like, well, I don't want to go out of journalism. So I was like, well, I'll do PR. Let me do PR because that's more business side of journalism. Child professors looked at me like, no, Jazz. Yes. Like, it's like basically the same thing. Broadcasting and PR. Like, you can't major in broadcasting and minor in PR. Like, it just doesn't make sense or whatever. Right. And so, like, I never, you know, had that necessary, like that safety net, because I was doing all of the things in journalism, like being on the radio and all of that. So it was just like, then having professors that were the bomb. Like, do you remember what professors were in journalism when you were?
I don't. Listen, I think I took one class. I changed my major before classes really started, and I still think I only took one class. Like, I totally was like, no, I'm not going to do it. So I pulled all the way back and you know, and delved headfirst into English. I took all the English classes I could take, some pre-law, I think, classes, but I absolutely pulled out of it. So yeah, it was big. I totally separated myself from the thought that I could do it. And I still wrote for the FAMU, and I wrote because I wanted to be a sportscaster. So I wrote for the sports section of the FAMU, and I covered the softball team. I still auditioned for plays and things like that. But as far as like focusing my major on what I wanted, and that was a huge part of what I wrote about. It's like the trajectory was totally like curved, totally curved.
And that's what I love. That's what I really, really loved about reading the article in essence and just hearing your story, because it's like you came back. It's like you boomerang that thing. Like you came back. Like, life made a way for you to come back. You know, to what your true passion was. And so, like, stories like yours are the foundation of why I even started this podcast, because I literally started this podcast off of doing exactly what you did, which was making that pivot and just
Yeah.
jumping out on faith and just going back to what your passion is. You and I have a similar trajectory when it comes in a career path because you are an administrator.
Yeah.
You know, you're at Gaither High
Yes.
School. Go Gaither High School.
Yes.
So, you know,
Yes.
you took it back there. Like you're in education and
Yes.
you climbed the ladder there.
Yes.
And then, you know, you're an entrepreneur as well. And so
Yes.
I love the story that you shared in essence. And if just for the sake of those who did not read that article, would you like give us an overview of what you spoke about in that article and then to talk to me about in the essence of doing
Right.
that? You will be sharing your comeback story. So if you'll do that.
Yes.
What do you consider to be your comeback?
Yes. So I don't even know where to start. So I'm just, and I started to print out the article so I could reference it. But basically, you know, the pivot.
First of all,
Okay.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I will not dare. I'm not going to dare skate over the fact that you deserve your flowers, that you deserve your kudos. Girl, you are in essence.
Oh, thank you.
You are in essence magazine.
Praise the Lord.
Good Lord.
Yes.
I just when I saw that, I was floored. I was so happy for you. Like literally happy for you. So I know you're gonna go into your story, but I'm like, heck no, like I didn't officially on this podcast say congratulations. So definitely congratulations to that. So
thank you so much. It kind of didn't hit me until afterwards. I'm kind of I don't know. It didn't hit me really. I know what Essence is. We've all known Essence our whole life. And so I submitted a different article about pivoting. It was just an advice piece, and the editor, she got right back with me. I don't even know this woman. I sent it to the editor. About 4 or 5 days later, she hit me back and said, oh, this is a nice advice piece, but we would love for you to tell us your story. And so anybody who knows me knows that I'm an avid journaler. Like I journal like crazy. And so writing out what happened was not hard. Living it was difficult, but not writing it was not. So the article was about pivoting, but she wanted to know about my pivot. So basically, I wrote in the article that, you know, I had seemingly a great life. I was married to my best friend. My children and my parents were well. They looked well, is the term that I used. And I had ascended this ladder at work. And little did people know that I kind of was hating what my marriage had become. I had a daughter who was dealing with some outbursts and mental health issues. And I absolutely loved my students and even the teachers that I worked with. But I will be honest with you, did not like my job. Did not like the career path that I was on. And like I even said in the article, I wanted to jump from the ladder I was climbing, like waving my middle fingers. I was just that over it. And so the pivot or the pull came to a head in 2018 because everything was kind of spinning out of control. And I got up one night, I had a bad dream. And I got up and kind of made my way to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. And I'm getting a little chilly now, like did not recognize myself. I saw, like I said, my eyes, my nose, my hair, but I did not know who that chick was that was looking back at me in the mirror. And that was 2018. So at that point, I was like, you know, what am I going to do? Thank God. My son and I had this conversation the other day. You know, my mother always says, thank God for Jesus. Because if I didn't have my faith base, I don't know what path I would be on right now, but I maybe just still living that life that I didn't want to live. But, you know, when you have faith, it kind of allows you to be a little open to taking risks and trusting God more than you trust what's going on around you. So I got divorced. I thought, as I put in the article, so I thought that was my first step. And then I actually at that time also took a leave of absence from work to go be an ed consultant. I moved out of the home that I was in. I took all of these huge steps. And I talk about in the article how we always think that we're taking these steps, particularly when we're driven by emotion. And, you know, pivoting and making a change, it starts within. It doesn't start with changing what's going on around you. Sometimes you have to sit still and just kind of focus on what's going on inside of you prior to that pivot. So I ended up, again, I listed some things that I'd done that I thought were my pivot, like joining the church and singing in the choir, taking yoga. Even when I got married or when I moved to other cities, you think all of these things are going to kind of pivot for you. And those are great life choices, but pivots, like I said, they start inside. So I was speaking with a friend of mine who she had just broken up with the person she was dating. And I was kind of like in this pit, like I just felt like, you know, I had just, my whole life had unraveled. And one night before we got off the phone, I was just like so downtrodden. And she said, you need to choose to be happy, Rubye. Don't forget to do that. And I'm telling you, I got so much great advice during that time, but something about that just made me realize that I have a choice. And then I decided to start just kind of making choices and making decisions about who I was. And like I said, I like it being broken into a bunch of pieces on the ground, and me and God just went and did an analyzation of all the pieces. My teenage years, my friends, my relationships with family, what I had done or dealt with as a mother, where I was with God and the church, where I was with my career, and everything that I did not want to carry with me the next 40, I think at the time I was 47. So I was like, I'm not taking it on the next 47 years. Like it's not coming. And so I just got to cutting people off, thinking about what I wanted my career to do, really kind of solidified myself in my faith. You know, had some tough conversations with people that I love. It was, but it was like losing 50 pounds off. It was like losing 50 pounds. And I suggested to anyone that, you know, people think they have to consult their tribe. That's huge out there now. Like, who's in your tribe? You better make sure that you are at the center and the core of your tribe. Like, you know, it's about, even in the Bible with Job, he had his friends around him, but that was a work he had to do on his own. And it kind of just goes back to that as well for me.
When you look back on it, because you touched on so many different points that because in your story, just like when I read it, I think I came back to you, like I said, congratulations, you know, in your inbox.
Yeah.
But then I went back and I reread the article, and I was just like, oh my God, like that point hits hard with me. This point hits hard with me. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna dissect it a little bit. So when all of the things that you went through, did you see you being the problem in any of those situations when you said that you and God had you had to go back and you had to dissect what was going on, even from childhood experiences, etc.? Did you find in any of those instances that maybe you were the issue?
Definitely. I think you know, all we know is what we're taught. I had that conversation kind of with one of my best friends yesterday. All we know is what we're taught. That's all we know. And you have to unlearn and undo those things. So when I figured, you know, because there's no way I could think about my marriage and think, oh, it was just all my husband, child. He was just, no, there were some things with me too, you know, regardless of what the percentage was on him and what it was on me, I still, whatever it was, played a part in whatever. You know, so definitely there were some issues with me as far as in every area, even at work. You know, when I knew that I didn't want to, that job really wasn't what I wanted to spend the rest of my working years doing, I needed to shift from that, because sometimes that can affect how you do the job.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't feel like you want to be there, you know, 1 day or 2 days, okay, but when it's a week and you're like, man, it's just Tuesday and 10 o'clock in the morning and I wish it was Friday at 4 o'clock, this is an issue. Especially when you're dealing with people's children, all right, and dealing with the public like we do as educators. So definitely, there were things I had to examine. One thing I did discover is going back to the root of whatever were what was quote unquote my fault. It comes from somewhere. I tell parents all the time when I do coaching, like, oh, my child doesn't listen, or my child doesn't this, or I can't get. Well, let's go to the root. Why was he trained or she trained or disciplined to be a good listener? Did you help him or her become this listener? You say she's cursing at you. Well, do you curse at her? Is it, you know, like, let's dissect it a little bit and see what the core of it is. So that's something that I had to do, like look at where my behaviors came from.
Good.
And that was not
good. I definitely wanted to just start there, because like you stated, you know, you cannot pivot. I totally believe that you cannot pivot until you deal with self, you know, like when you own up to your part, you know, like, cause you had a part in it, you know, and so, cause that, you know, that pivot had been that coined phrase, you know, at that particular time, but people just don't understand how tough, how very tough it is. And so you are 25 years in education, and I know that for you to stay that long in education, and then you have all of these experiences, and one of them being heavily, you know, focused and centered in educational leadership. And you and I both know we share something. We share the fact that we are both Black. Well, we were both African
Yes.
American women
Oh,
in
yes. No joke.
administration.
No
And
joke.
I was just telling one of my colleagues the other day, I said, you know, your lens is different because of your experiences, and
Yes.
my lens is totally different from my experience and from what I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely started to loathe the position
Mm-hmm.
that I was in. I absolutely loved the kids. I loved the parents. I loved pretty much all stakeholders. But one common theme that just seemed to be there is that I was always put with women for whatever
Uh-huh.
reason, just could just I felt this is what I felt. I felt that they were I hate to say intimidated, but every time like I've shared my story, every time that I've shared my experiences, it's like, oh, Jazz, it's because you're young, you're black, you know, you're pretty, or you're fashionable, or look at how the kids respond to you, look at
Mm-hmm.
how the parents like you, and they're intimidated. It would always end up in that little intimidation
Yes.
sector. Like it would
Yeah.
always come. Like I've had administrators point blank tell me, I feel that you were placed here. And then on top of that, I was always placed at
Mm.
places. You know, I never
Mm.
really got to choose where I wanted to be. I was placed. And so you as an
Right.
administrator, you already know how the game goes. You
Yes.
already know how the system is when
Yes.
you are placed
Yes.
in different places. Like I had an administrator tell me, like, I feel that you're trying to take my job. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yes.
how? You don't let me do anything.
Yes.
Like,
All the time.
how do you think that
All
I'm
the
trying to take
time.
your job?
All the
And
time.
so that for me, those instances, and that's it's not surface level, that is deep stuff. Because you
Right.
know, if ever anyone else says that was their experience, people would be like, oh my God, what did you do, da 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 da. And it was just like I was always viewed as somebody that should have been able to navigate through that. And I'm like, no, it was so unprofessional, number one, and no one should have to deal with that, like
Right.
no one. And so I just remember my personal thing, and I just
Yeah.
wonder if you ever felt this way. I will never forget, I was heading to duty one morning, and my steps got slower
Mm.
and slower.
Mm-hmm.
And I was almost on the verge of tears. And it was like students were coming up to me, hi, Miss Bennett, like, good morning.
Mm-hmm.
It was bright and fuzzy, but I got number and
Mm.
number. I
Mm.
didn't feel anything. And I stopped in my tracks and I was like, God, take me out. Take me away from here.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, God, make it a situation
Mm-hmm.
that I don't have to be here anymore. And I was like, good Lord, God, you heard that prayer, didn't you?
Yes.
like you heard that
Yes.
one. I
Yes.
was just at a point where I was just like, I don't want to be here
Yes.
anymore. Like, yeah,
Yes.
and I felt like I couldn't say it. And I don't know if that's your experience, but I felt like I couldn't say that out loud because I
Right.
felt like I didn't want to have someone else's ear hear, oh, well, you can't deal with the job, or you don't know how to do the job, or do
Yes.
you not love the kids? Do you not love the culture? Do you not love the school? No, that's not
Oh,
what I'm
yes.
saying. I don't
Yes.
love this situation.
Yeah.
I love the kids. I love the work. I love the job. I love
Mhm.
education. I love all of it. I don't
Right,
like this
but
people.
not this
So
situation.
how was it for you? Like, I just felt like I was dying. Like,
Yes,
literally,
it really
literally
is.
dying.
I probably felt kind of a slow burn on that job since about 2016, 2017. I remember vividly one day I came home, it was a Friday night, a Friday after work. I got into bed, I just cried. This was probably like 2016, 2017, and I just boo cried. And I was just like, I don't, you get tired of carrying the weight, because one thing I've learned in leadership is that they they want so much of what we have to offer, you and I, what we have to offer, how we deal with parents and students and how hard we go in, but they don't. Number one, like, I kind of have been pigeonholed, just like held into a certain position for a while. Then I was I was asked to apply at a school, and it was thought that I should have felt, honored to be able to teach at this upper crest school where I am employed. And the whole thing of other women thinking that I want their position just because I'm just being me. That part. And I'm
Just
just
because
like,
you
I'm
are being
going to give
yourself.
150. Yes, I'm going to come and give 150% every day. I do my job from the lens of, if that was my daughter or my son, how much do I want that administrator, that teacher to pour into my child? That's how I do my job. So for me, I'm just I'm a go-getter. I am ambitious, which is something that I'm learning to kind of say about myself. I am ambitious. I am a go-getter. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody doesn't understand that. And some people are intimidated by that. They're intimidated. The more you come into yourself and kind of like let your light shine, the more it's going to intimidate some people. And particularly those people that you're working with, if they're not comfortable in who they are. Insecure people have a problem with people like me, period. And
I'm trying to tell you.
and it used to make me stop and curtail and like minimize who I am. And I'm so like on the opposite end of that now. So when you're working around people and they want all of your ideas and your drive and energy, but then they want you to kind of stay in the corner while they do something with it, or while they do whatever they choose to do with it, whether they want to lift you up or put you back in the chair, I'm done. I'm over that. I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So and that's a hard thing. Like, it's almost like a breakup. I've been doing it forever,
Yes.
like almost more, a little more.
Yes.
So, I've cried a couple times since we've been out of school, since the kids left, not last week, but the week before. I've cried a couple times because it's like, I'm done. I'm like, oh, I'm done with you, boo. We're done. We're done. Don't even call me. Don't even call my phone. So I'm done. Donezo.
Listen.
I had to go that far, baby. I'm sorry. I was trying to hold it together, but
No, ma'am.
done.
No, because this podcast is about being very transparent, and people just really need to, they need to hear it, because like you said, yes,
it's hard.
like you,
It's hard being a Black woman in education. It is hard. It is hard.
It's like you placed me in these places where these babies need to see a face like me, and not only just because they need to see a face like me, that I'm smart, that I'm going to get the job done, and then when I get here and I'm doing all this and I'm pouring myself out, I'm being considered a threat.
Yes.
Like, get out of here. Yes. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for these
intimidated. And then, a lot of people don't know this. Like, I'm about 6'1". I'm tall. So that already is a whole nother piece. Like, if I say anything,
I know you have been called aggressive so many times.
I am misaggressive.
I know you've been called intimidating
every week. Every week. I'm like, but I didn't say anything, but can I talk to somebody else? No, you're going to have to deal with me. But it's just like anything that I say. And then, I'm going to say this, and I'll probably not share this with anybody. Like, I've had sisters in the school district, Rubye, you're tall, you're dark skinned, you're dark skinned. You need to, be careful about, and I'm just kind of like, huh? Like, if anything, you should be helping me articulate that's non-threatening. Honey, it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
So we need to make sure that we're just shining a light on the positive side of the strength. It's not aggression at all, but it constantly gets seen as that. So I'm so glad to be saying goodbye to that in that realm. Not to say I won't see it in another realm of my life, but I'm just glad to be saying goodbye to it in that realm. Like, y'all can have it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you on that. And I just always said it, just because for me, in order to be able to be in a leadership position again, like, I definitely would have to be in a situation that I'm in right now where I literally got to work with a leader that I knew. Like, I knew him. Yeah. So it's just, for me, it's like, if I don't get to pick the leader, I'm not doing it, or I feel like, God, are you just telling me that I need to start my own? Like, I really feel like that's what you're telling me.
That may be it. That may be it. Totally. That may be it. And you just have to seek that out and figure that piece out step by step. Yep.
Yeah.
Because I feel very confident in the path, in the chapter that I'm in right now, very confident in it. So I get it. You have to have that sort of like, that push that God is like, okay, this is the path you want me to take, and trust the process.
Right.
You can do it.
Right. This path that you are on, a lot of people don't know how to navigate past divorce, especially if you've been married for a long time. Even if you haven't been married for a long time, if something comes of it, you've been with someone for a long time, and especially when kids come into play, like, there are a whole lot of factors that you have to deal with in that regard. Some
Right.
people don't know how to pivot from that.
Yes.
And most importantly, some people don't know how to heal from that. And so
Right.
you described that, this new place that you're in, or saying goodbye, felt like yet another breakup.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What were your steps to healing? Like, you did say it, that you and God, you had to unpack a whole lot of things. You
Yes.
had to, you dropped people,
Yes.
friends, family.
Yes. But let me tell you.
Talk to me.
Oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, so I was just gonna ask you that can get so lonely,
It
and that can
was.
just for me,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm still kind of crawling out of it a little bit. Like a lot of people, like you know how people say like you're that popular loner. Like that's how I'm in my space right now, where that descriptor
Yes.
is spot
Spot
on right now.
on.
Like
That's me.
I'm the like a popular loner, and it's like sometimes I just feel more comfortable when I'm chilling by myself. Like I'll just I'm like one of those people that would just love to just meet up with you, but
Yeah.
it does get lonely
Yeah.
sometimes. But if
Yeah.
I have to do that and be
Mm-hmm.
peaceful
Mm-hmm.
versus being with somebody and second guessing you, like
Yes.
I'm just at that space,
Yes.
relationship wise, as a woman and as a
Yes.
friend too.
Yes.
So I don't know, describe
Yes.
that. What does that feel like for you?
It's the same. I enjoy Rubye so much. I really do. I'm a very social person. I have, a few groups of friends that I go out with from time to time, but I am, kind of I say a loner. The process of healing, though, back to the first part of your question, it was a very isolated, very solo, very, at first I was like, I was used to having the husband and the kids and everybody around. My son went to fam. My daughter's older than him, so she was already in Tallahassee. It was the most time I've spent by myself since I was maybe in college or something. Like many people don't know I was pregnant with my daughter when I graduated from FAMU. So I had a baby like 9 months after graduation. And so, and I was, had my family around me in Tampa and so forth. So, I had not spent that much time by myself in 20 years. So
Yeah.
it was very different. I did not like it at first.
Mhm.
And then, I kind of went into what I call like this cocoon phase where I was like, I realized that there was a work to be done.
Mhm.
And again, going back to what I said earlier, I kind of had to trust the process. I really just let it run its course. Like I said, I journal a lot. So I journaled even more. I read a few books. Well, I won't even say I read a few books. I think I read one book. And I just really did a lot of like one-on-one, me and the Lord, just working it out. It was not easy at all, though. And like I said in my article, I did go to a life enhancement coach. Iris Thurman, oh my God, can just go on and on about her. But it was really a situation where she taught me how to, like I said, God and I looked at the pieces, but you still need a human being or two in your corner. And
Yeah.
she was there to help me kind of really look at my relationships, from my family to my husband, to my children, to the people I called friends, to the career, everything. And we just, again, looked at those pieces. But it was a very lonely process. I had a friend named Carisha in Orlando. She did like this kind of like this really internal look. She does this kind of what's called a womb practice for women.
Okay.
And it definitely, it was very interesting, but it was very healing for me because it really kind of takes you to look at your core and think about who you are. It was just such an internal look because I had lost myself.
Yeah.
And so at the time I didn't get it. I mean,
Mhm.
on the other side of it, I do, but I felt like I was covered in labels for what people thought that I was this and that, stuff I had from when I was 5 or 6 up until I was 46.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of undoing, a lot of what I say, peeling off those labels. And then, when you peel something off, it's kind of got to heal. And it's new skin. So I kind of had to reintroduce myself to me. And, it was just absolutely the best experience on the other side ever. It really was. I
Yeah.
don't know how else to articulate. I hope what I'm saying is making sense,
It
but
is
it's true.
it is making so much
Good.
sense to me because I feel you totally.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you say that I lost myself, like I
Mm-hmm.
feel that too. And I'm in the process of starting to do a deep dive into
Mm-hmm.
just analyzing who I am, just
Yeah.
analyzing like who I've become, the
Right.
decisions that have led to me being this person that I am, like things that I need to
Yes.
work on, relationships, like how to fix
Mm-hmm.
them or not, or let them go. Like
Let's,
I'm the
yeah.
type of person that I need to learn how to either let it go or let it go
Yeah.
properly. Like I just, I hold on to
Yeah.
things, and I hold on to things until I think I don't know, they do something to me. And so,
Same.
because I'm loyal, I think that's what it is. I think I'm loyal, and I'm a competitor, and I don't like to lose. And it's like sometimes
Mm. Okay.
you just gotta let that thing go.
Yes.
Sometimes you just
Yes.
gotta let that thing go. You
I'm
can't
definitely
win.
loyal. I'm definitely loyal. I don't know if I'm not really a competitor, but I'm definitely very loyal. But that letting go is huge.
Yeah.
Like I went to the Sarasota Film Festival recently, and I got to see, there's a film with Beth Ann Hardison. Her son is Kadeem Hardison, and I've shared this story with a couple people. She has a documentary that's coming out, and I got to go screen it and vote for it. It was a great experience. But one thing she said was like, the lighter the load, the smoother the road.
Yeah.
And, because if you're carrying all of these things, it's like putting bumps in the road, and you're trying to have a smooth travel and a smooth path. And when I tell you, when I got to
Yeah.
meet her one-on-one, I was just like, baby, thank you. Because I carry that with me. And we've got to learn how to let things go. I was telling one of my BFFs today, like that was something that I really had to learn how to do, is let things go. Like,
Yeah.
let the past be in the past. Focus on the present and look, to where you want your future to go. And you cannot carry ruminating thoughts and things like that. And we like to hold on to things. And I won't say that, Hispanic women and white women don't do the same thing, because I'm Black. All I can tell you is, sisters, we hold on to a lot. We
Yes.
do. We hold
Yeah.
on to a lot. And so for me, one of the parts of my healing was forgiveness. I had to forgive a lot of people.
Yeah.
And if I've done anything to people, I want to be forgiven. But I had to, I had to forgive my ex-husband. I had to forgive, whoever else was out there who had done things to me. That doesn't mean that I wanted to be back in relationship with, other people, but it does mean that I'm not carrying that load anymore. And it helps
Yeah.
me to be, and it does free you to just be free to love, like free to have love and be loving towards folks. It does help a lot. And that would be
Do
something
you
I really
ever
would want to leave with people.
do you have relationships with people where you forgave them, but you forgave them without a conversation?
Um, yes. Well, hold on, because I am a conversing, so honey, I talk. So let me think
Right.
real quick. Who have I
And see, that's
forgiven that
me.
I
I'm
have not
like,
talked to?
I
Oh yeah,
have
yeah.
to.
There's a couple people. Yeah, for sure. And even
Yeah.
sometimes I've had conversations of forgiveness and did not get the person didn't get it. They're just like, oh, okay, then that's cool. All right, but or I've forgiven people and thought that we kind of could go down a certain path, and they're still treating me or acting the same. And me, like, I can have a spoon handle, like they say, a long handle spoon from like Tampa to LA, honey, with somebody. I don't hate you. I wish you the best, but that spoon handle is that long. And you kind of, I would say you would never know. The person, people know how you're dealing
Yeah.
with them. But yeah, I'm definitely one who is a proponent of being forgiven, and
Yeah.
that's something that I really has been a huge part of my healing process.
I think you have to. I don't think you can heal without being able
Hmm.
to know how to forgive people. I
Yeah.
just, I think that healing goes hand in hand with forgiving, because I
Yes.
just don't see how it can happen without it.
You have to.
And so I do agree. Like I started off by saying, like how do
Right.
you do that? But it's like I've done that with
Oh yeah.
several people. Like I've definitely forgiven them without having to say a word,
Yeah.
without having to say a
Mhm.
paragraph. Obviously, because we both like to converse and we like to kind of
Yes. I want to get off
get
my
down to
chest.
the root, right? Get down to
Yes.
the root of it.
Yes.
But it's just like, that's cool. Maybe that's just how it just
Yeah.
had to happen. So
Hmm.
listen, like I know you sound and you're moving, you've alluded to this
Hmm.
space that you're currently in now.
Yes.
And so it seems like it's a happy place.
Hmm.
It seems like it's a place of purpose and just
Yes.
goodness. Like I think, with that confidence, it's
Yes.
just like with that ease and that calmness. Like I don't see
Yes.
that there's that anxiety that you spoke
Mm-mm.
about, or like
Mm-mm.
that just kind of being on edge feeling. So talk to me
Yeah.
about your organization, Imagine Me
Well,
LLC. Talk to me about that.
that is the name of a business that I instituted. And just a point about, like I said, the happiness. It really was a friend of mine, Melinda. She lives in Atlanta. She told me one day to choose to be happy. And like I said, sometimes we talk to our friends so much we don't listen when they're talking to us. But, you know, that day she was so zoned in on kind of helping me with my healing that my ears were open and I could hear her. And she said, Rubye, you need to choose to be happy. And from that point on, like I said, that's what I do. So if something comes along that's not bringing me a happiness, and I don't mean like it has to be about me. But I mean, like, if somebody is intentionally trying to bring me down, or if a situation makes me uncomfortable and it's uncomfortable in a way that is kind of detrimental or damaging, I remove myself from it. Like, so that's important. So imagine me, I want to make that point. Imagine me, it's from the Kirk Franklin song, Imagine Me. It's that CD, Hero by Kirk Franklin, is my go-to CD. Honey, if a gospel album can have some bangers, I don't know what Kirk was going through when he wrote those, but that I have to want to look in the camera and tell anybody, if you need to be uplifted, you need to listen to that Kirk Franklin Hero CD. But it's a song on there called Imagine Me, and it is the ultimate journal entry of my life. Like, you know, being free from those things that people have said and done to bring you down that may have happened when you were 5, 15, or 25. Even the things that we do unto ourselves, you know, being free from that and imagining yourself not in the situation that you are in, but having transcended and healed and being above that situation and over those situations, and imagine you who you really are and connecting with that person. So many of us put on hats to act a certain way with our parents, and then we put on a hat to act a certain way at work, then we put on a hat to act a certain way at church and with our friends. One thing about me is that I'm the same way at church, work, friends, Instagram Live. It's just who I am, and that is, it's just like losing 50 pounds. It's like you're carrying a light load. I don't have to shift and act one way with different people. I'm imagining Rubye as God really created me to be. I am outspoken. I am a little loud sometimes. I am very creative. I like to sing for no reason. I like to write, and I'm so cool with that and so in love with that. So just imagine me not as who you say that I am and what you think I am, but really imagine me as I am.
I love
All right.
that.
Amen.
Listen, I love that so much.
But it's the truth. And it was hell getting to this point. So, and it was all choices, you know, because one thing about it, we have choices. So it was not easy to get here, but it was all about choices and making a decision. Because had I not made the choice, I wouldn't be sitting here, child. I'd be upset because I got to go back to work in August doing something I don't want to do. So I don't know.
What's one of the things that you go ahead?
No, you go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, like, with this happiness, like, what's one of the things that you wake up and when you think about it, like when you kind of think back on things, what's one thing or a few things that just makes you smile, like wow, like I am here and this is making me so happy.
Well, just that my eyes are open. Like my eyes are open, like open, and I don't, you know, it makes me. No, I don't know. I think that my eyes are open. So when your eyes are open, you kind of see things so differently. Like I'm not influenced by things that I see, like basic stuff on, like, say, Facebook or Instagram. Like when you started this podcast life that you're living, that's something that it's like in my bag of stuff that I carry with me every day. Like I'm influenced. I'm driven. It's kind of like a little bit of wind beneath my wings. When you started your podcast, I was like, oh my God, because I knew that, and not even knowing you like that at all, but I knew where that came from. I knew the core of who you were and how you had to build yourself up to, like, squat down and jump up and leap and do it. Like there are 20 people out there who want to do what you're doing, but you made a decision to do it. So really, that's one thing, just having my eyes open to stuff like that. There's something that floats around on Instagram and Facebook all the time, like, if somebody loves you, they won't hurt you. Lies. It won't hurt if it's love. It won't hurt. Lies. In my opinion, lies. Let me tell you, I would give my life for my children, and both of them that got on every nerve in my body have hurt me. That's still true. But they love me and I love them. So love does hurt sometimes. I'm not trying to say it's Ike and Tina hurt, but it will hurt sometimes. So we have to be open-minded to that. But you know, really those things, I just thank God just that I'm still here, and that, you know, I can't say that I've had a suicidal period in my life, thank God, but I definitely had some very dark days, and I'm grateful for every day, because I know what can lie ahead in that day. You know, there are things, material things that I can sit here and say that I'm grateful for, like, you know, being able to purchase a home, or, you know, bank account or credit, whatever, you know, having good credit, whatever, you know, that those things are good. But just to have a healthy, clean heart, and to have, you know, still have love in my heart and not be a bitter person. I thank God for that every day.
That's
Every day.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And that is a blessing.
It
You
is
know,
a
like I think
blessing.
so many people take that for granted,
They do.
but it's like that
They
peace
do.
and happiness,
Yes.
love and happiness.
Said love and
I'll
happiness,
bring you what
and
you talking
and like
about.
you said, a peace. Having peace is huge, and that might be at the top. Peace, and I guess I pray for wisdom all the time. I think having just peace and wisdom. I always ask God to please help me use whatever resources, whatever He brings that day, help me to use it appropriately, like not to squander it or ignore it. So, you know, those things for me are kind of like the foundation of my day. Seriously, like,
Yeah.
it's the best. I'm just saying, it's the best. Because like you said, people take it for granted, and it's those things that we take for granted that we probably need to be focusing on and giving our breath and energy to the most. And I took Rubye for granted for decades, baby, decades. So we're not doing that.
I know that's right. How do you feel about love again?
Oh, I love. Let me tell you something, and I told somebody this. I'm not the type of person, because I was hurt, like I'm just never going, child, where you at? I'm just saying, you know, I'm not that person. Like, I'm not going to deny myself because something bad happened. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
No.
I love it.
And I'm not going to, you know, I will say this, and, you know, and I think he would agree. My ex and I are like besties. So it's like, I'm moving forward. I just, you know, I don't want to live my life as a single woman. I don't.
Yeah.
But I even got to a point that I was like, if that's what God had for me, I guess I would have to rock with it. But I know He ain't gonna leave me hanging like that.
I know that's right. I'm like, God, man, you gotta understand it.
I need somebody to talk to when I get home. Okay.
Oh, that's right.
So, you know, I have no doubt about that. But yeah, for sure. No, not jaded at all. Even more, I feel, because I'm so like a refined, like I talk about going through the fire in that article. I'm such a refined version of who I am and how I see myself. I'm kind of a good thing sitting right here that the Lord talked about. That's what I am. So I just know that let me tell you, I'm good. I'll be all right. And I mean, I've dated. No, I'm good. I love love. I want to be on that show on OWN. It's called Black Love or whatever, where they sit on the couch and talk about their relationship. I want to do
that. And that's a great segue, because look, I'm about to start, because I get it in. I try to get in at least like one episode a month where I talk to couples. But several people, they're like, Jazz, like we really love when you have like couples on, when you have people on for their love story. So just ensure you get you somebody. Y'all gonna have to come back on here and tell me your love story. Like, I absolutely love.
I might have somebody in mind for that for me. I might have somebody.
Look, I am like, I create like a love story in my head every day. It's not even like every day, but I'm like, because I pray in the mornings, and then like I'm scrolling on IG, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, because it's like it's always like a love story that I find, and I'm like, oh my God, like that's so dope. And so I'm just like, I'm enthralled with people and their love stories.
And love is so confusing to people now, because I think the idea of what love is so lost. Marriage is such a sacred bond that you and that person have, and you know, we get so caught up in all the stuff that really does not like solidify marriage. It's a part of a marriage, but it doesn't solidify it. Love, it's the ultimate example of love and forgiveness, and you and that person are like truly one person. It's so much deeper than what we see on social media. So, you know, with all that being said, I'm looking forward to like really, again, being that refined person in another marriage. I'm looking forward to that.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So you have to keep up with that. Keep doing that, because we need to see that Black folks. It's people, period, in all races, but definitely, yeah.
I believe that. I totally believe it. You know, I promise you that. Like I'm excited because I'm going to do that. And so like as we move and we conclude the interview, you know,
Yes.
what's next for you? Like what do you have brewing? Like what are your next steps? What are your goals?
Okay, so I definitely want to. I started a book a while ago. I do want to finish it. I really want to finish it before the summer is out. And just really growing my business. I do have Kumba Books and Cafe, which is a business that I'm working on. It's more like, it's definitely not just a bookstore. It's not just a coffee shop. It's an art meetup conversation space where people who are like-minded can come and converse. I definitely want to have events there and so forth. I even have a space that I'm looking at right now. So that hopefully will be something that is open before the year is out.
Please. Because I'm telling you, when you said that in the article, I was like, this is so cool and it is so needed.
I'm so excited.
And I'm picturing the vibe in my head. I'm like,
definitely
please
a vibe.
come on with it.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. So that's something that I'm, rapidly working towards. I want to keep writing, tapping back into that Essence article and the feedback that I've gotten from people that I know, as well as people from all over the country, the emails, and so many people saying, oh, you're such a good writer. It reminded me that, oh yeah, I did start out as a writer. That's what I went to college to do. I wanted to be in journalism and write, and I wanted to do broadcast and print, to be honest, but I've always enjoyed writing. So I really want to focus on having something that I do monthly. I'm going to probably try to submit another article to Essence while I have their attention. So those sorts of things, right? So that's it. I'm so wide open to just this new lane that I'm creating. It's kind of like, Maya Angelou always says, we have to blaze a path for ourselves, and that sounds good, but it really is not easy. So that's something that I've kind of started, and I just want to kind of keep the momentum going and do, take it wherever God wants me to go with it.
I can see you doing great things. I know you just did a post about one of your roommates,
Marsha,
being at Essence, and now she's speaking.
She is.
At Essence. That's one of my goals. Like that's one of my short-term goals is to be on one of those main stages and interviewing someone or being on that panel. Like that's a goal of mine. So I'm like, yes, Rubye, like you better do it. Like I'm like, girl, with this Essence and going back to journalism, like I just feel that when you tap into God and what He has for you, your purpose is not going to miss you. It is not going to miss you. Like you
sleep on that. People sleep on that. People pay so much money to go all these conferences, honey, and they watch all these people, and I'm like, if you're a Christian, because if you're not, I'm not knocking it at all, but I'm just saying try it. Just try it. Try Jesus. I'm just being honest. I have to say it, but just try that, because when you are God has the best plan, in my opinion, for us. I just, there are lots of plans out there that you can follow, but I really can't say about that. Like that really is the sauce for me. That's what does it for me, and I just, like you said, when you're tapped into it, the doors and it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, because, just as sure as you're trying to walk a path, He's going to try to straighten some things out in you that you may not want to deal with or admit or whatever. But, it's worth it in the end. It's worth it.
It is. It is. And Rubye, let me tell you that you have inspired me to no end. You're like one of those like positive stories where it's just like I can't even tell you where I met you. I know we met online. Like I do know that. And it's just been Facebook, and it's just been pleasant. Like the things that you write resonates with me. Your personality and just I'm so blessed to have this conversation with you, and just thank you. Like I know you feel that you were pouring into me, but sis, you definitely poured into me. Like your article is the bomb, and definitely continue on this path. Continue doing what you know God has called you to do, because you are talented. You are in that space. The space has made room for you. So continue.
I will. And thank you so much. Like I told you, it's an honor for me to be here and just be a part of you living out your dream. Like, I live for this sort of connection. You know, this is what I want my children to know that they can have. And I'm sure with your sons, you want them to understand the same. Whatever is in you, you just got to tap into it and get it out. And I, you know, like I told you, I wait on your Sunday posts, how you post all those quotes on Sundays, honey. I live for it. But you can tell when you're kind of in, like, what I call it, like, energy with people. Because there's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of stuff that you can see on social media, but you can tell when you and another person kind of have a like energy, and they're genuine, which is something that can be kind of lost in the world today. It's that genuine piece. Yes. And, you know, so I'm so grateful. And like, I was so moved when you started your podcast. I was like, oh my God, like, what am I doing with my life? I need to get it together. I'm serious. I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm dragging around. I'm scared. She not scared. So to be on here with you is absolutely, I know, right? She be like, every day, every time. No, so keep doing it, because it does. It puts the wind beneath our wings and pushes us forward when people are living. Because, you know, that's what we're here to do. We should be inspiring and motivating each other. Absolutely. So I am honored to have been on with you tonight. Yeah.
It has been a pleasure, Rattler. Do you hear me, girl?
Yes.
It has been a pleasure. I got to show my little earrings when I come on now. Don't you, you know.
See, that's something else. I'm slipping. I don't have no Rattler earrings. I need to get some Rattler earrings.
Listen, I was gifted. I was gifted by a fellow Rattler. She's a Rattler too. Miss Keisha Pickett. Keisha was she's been in the Tampa area, but she has Pickett and Associates. She is in PR, and so
OMG, she's the person that I wrote the article for. That I sent to Essence. I sent her an article first, and she sent me a video like, oh my God, I love this article. This is everything. And that article is the initial article I sent to Essence. Yes, Keisha. I love her. Keisha, shout out to you. Yes. She is the reason. I won't say she's the reason, but she is kind of a huge piece of the reason why my article I even wrote something to send to Essence, because I just, you know, I started writing for her.
Yeah, so you look at that.
Great person.
Yeah. Connections.
Oh my God. Yeah, she's awesome. She is awesome.
She is the bomb. She is the bomb. So thank you so much. Thank you. We can't let it happen the last time.
No. No. We gotta connect. Yes. Definitely. You have my info.
Look, I see a double date in our future, so let's go ahead and claim that. First and foremost.
Yes. Yeah, oh, for sure. Definitely. I was thinking we got to link up outside of this. Definitely. So anytime. We all in the summer, so let me know. I'm ready.
I am.
Yes, I got to put this spot too.
Say the word. I got you. Are you going to homecoming?
Huh?
I can't leave without saying that. Are you going to homecoming this year?
Yes. I didn't go last year. I didn't go 2022. I went 2021, but yeah, I'm trying to make it this year, because 2021 was absolutely epic. It did something for me, like you were saying at the beginning of your show. So we did definitely have to do it. Yes.
So we're in the same boat. We're in the same boat, because I'm planning to go back this year too. So hopefully I will see you. Save me one of those bags if you end up doing a bag again. Save me a bag
for our class. Yes, no problem. I got you. But I'll definitely be in touch, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you guys for tuning in. This has been episode 83 of the Jazzie Conversations with Jazz podcast with my special guest, Rubye Dunn. You want to check out her latest article in Essence magazine. It is an article all about pivoting, healing, and finding your true purpose. All right. Yes. So make sure that you tune into this podcast. Catch the replay right here on IG Live. Catch it on YouTube and all podcast platforms at Jazzie Conversations with Jazz Podcast. Subscribe, hit the notifications bell, leave me a comment, rate, and review. I will see you back for episode 84. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Thank you. All right, girl.
Bye.
Bye.